everybody. Welcome to this How to Take Care of Yourself session this morning. My name is Jenny Leader, and I'm just going to make a few sort of housekeeping announcements for you at the beginning here. I've got my camera on at the moment. I'm going to pop that off in a minute so seeing myself doesn't distract me. So today we're going to be looking at something called Arriving, Surviving and Thriving. We're going to look at the 5 ways to well-being, and we're going to look at how you can contact us if things go wrong for you. As I said, my name is Jenny Leader, so I work in the student counselling service as one of the managers. I'm just also going to introduce my colleague, briefly ask her just to pop her video on for a second, who's Sharon Wagner.
Coming in a minute, I think.
Oh yes, there she is. Hi, Sharon.
Hi there. Audio's, I don't know if you can hear it. It says my audio's just.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. So Sharon will be coming in at the end to answer some of your questions, and we'll look at some frequently asked questions if there's a bit. She also works for the Student Counselling Service, and we both have had experience of postgraduate education, so we know a little bit about what you're going to be facing in the next year or several years. So this presentation really is aimed at students, whether you're international or local, whether you're relocating to Edinburgh to study or studying remotely. As I said, we'll look at how to arrive, survive and thrive. We'll get a little bit of input on how to maintain good mental health through this 5 ways to well-being. And we'll make sure you know where to learn in the university for extra support if you find yourself struggling psychologically. Big graph here. You might not be able to read all the little words on it. I certainly struggle myself. I have to get right up close to the screen, but it's really just the shape we're asking you to look at. It's called the W curve, and it represents graphically something about arriving, surviving and thriving. It was designed especially for international students coming to the UK, but it's true for all students new to Edinburgh and or sort of university, postgraduate level. When you first arrive in a new place or begin a new challenge, like studying from a distance, it can feel exciting and fun. This is known as the honeymoon stage. As you settle in, a number of challenges can pop up and you'll have a bit of adjustment to make. This may feel a bit disorienting at times. This is the sort of disillusion stage where the initial excitement has worn off and everyday life in your new environment starts to feel a bit difficult. Finally, as you adjust to your new way of life and look after yourself in the ways we will cover today, it becomes easier to feel comfortable in your new situation and enjoy your experience. So that's moving up from that low point of the W up to the sort of first high point. So that's you thriving. The graph continues though and acknowledges actually that when you leave university or go back home, you'll hit another phase of needing to adapt again to a new environment. Having got used to the university one, you'll leave university and go somewhere else and have to adapt to that. So there'll be another sort of dip, a low point in the W before you manage to acclimatise again and climb up. So let's focus on arriving. There'll be some challenges to deal with as you settle into studying with the University of Edinburgh. Let's have a look at some of them. Okay, so whether you're studying away from home or staying in your usual environment, embarking on higher study is a challenge, and it can take time to settle in and establish a support network, virtual or otherwise. I guess if you're studying from home, then you have the advantage of familiar surroundings and people, but the potential to feel isolated from your academic community. In leaving home to study, there'll be a need to create a new support network, new friends, colleagues, contacts. They are go-to people, so that will be a challenge in itself. If English is not your first language, another challenge will be being taught in English. Even if English is your first language, you'll find many different accents and dialects in Edinburgh, and this may take time to adjust to, along with the different academic expectations and systems that may feel confusing at first. You may find the differences in academic grading particularly challenging. I guess that's certainly true of undergraduates. When we get to the postgraduate world, I guess the change there is so much less close direction and more time for you to organise yourself, which especially in research work, not so much on taught postgrad, but certainly standards will have shifted and grading will have shifted from undergraduate work. You'll have to get accustomed to a new routine in your daily life, which you might have to impose yourself. And angle. It can be exciting to experience different cultures, but it's also important to allow yourself time to adjust to those cultures and differences. You don't need to be here in person to have opportunities to get involved in your new environment and culture. There'll be lots of opportunities online for that. The last one here, expectations. Some of you may feel the weight of the high expectations of others in your life on you, whether that be family, school or funders or friends. This can cause some sort of stress and pressure to achieve, which can lead to a struggle sometimes. I guess at postgraduate level, all of you have demonstrated that you're academically gifted, and you can have really quite high expectations of what you want to achieve in your postgraduate study. It's good to have to push yourself, of course, but sometimes not so good when you push too hard and burn out. Okay, let's turn to surviving. That's a much more cheery topic. This applies throughout your academic life, and it's good to remember that challenges will occur at any point in your uni time, and you can continue to think about this model to help get through the tough times. So in order to survive, it's important to look after your health and well-being. This means looking after your physical health and your emotional health, and creating a good balance between academic study and social interactions and other activities. So how can you do this? So let's explore now a little loop through the 5 ways to well-being. These are commonly used in the National Health Service and other well-being settings to help promote a tangible and measurable way to maintain good mental health. Okay, the first way of the 5 ways is to connect with others. We are social animals after all, so we need this. It can be with people you already know or new people. It could be about joining clubs and societies, or just talking to others and attending social events virtually or otherwise. The worst thing to do is to hide away in isolation, really, although the temptation might be to do that. It won't bear fruit for you. We recognise it's difficult if you have any form of social anxiety to connect, but just a smile can let others know that you're happy to connect with them. Remember, other people may not be as confident as they seem, so don't be afraid to make the first move. They may be waiting for someone to do that. The second simple way to well-being is be active. The university has great sports facilities, so do take advantage of them if you're in Edinburgh. Start as you mean to go on and get into good habits which will stay with you for the duration of your study. Even if you're not in Edinburgh, I think a lot of classes will be moved online for students to be involved in. But it is about that kind of starting as you mean to go on with a good habit, getting it into your routine. Walk around. Edinburgh's a great city to walk around in, and there's so much to see. If you're not in Edinburgh, there's some ideas online for sort of resources in which you can connect and be active in your environment. We've got one particular page on our website actually, and I'm hoping that Sharon will pop up the link to this. It's called What Works. It's a collection of different activities all in the one place, found to be good for positive mental health. Thank you very much, Sharon, that's great. So they're actually evidence-based, so it's research has backed up these particular activities as being very positive for your mental health. So it can be about petting an animal, going for a walk, doing some sort of yoga, any number of things are in there, lots of different things. There's something for everybody. We're on to the third way to well-being here, which is a simple one, take notice. So take notice, look around, look up, look away from your computer screen, which is something I try to do all the time. I've got my desk right in front of a window at home, so I'm looking out into the trees and birds and things like that. Often we walk about in life and don't notice things. Mindful attention can boost our mood and help to manage anxiety. So if you struggle with kind of, stopping the chattering in your mind, it can be quite useful to attend a sort of online mindfulness course just to sort of learn that skill. Sharon's very kindly popped up the link to the chaplaincy mindfulness courses there, so you'd be able to sort of learn that skill, just to sort of pause the chattering in your head and just take a moment of peace. Lovely. Fourth way to wellbeing, keep learning. So obviously there'll be a lot of academic learning you'll be doing in the years to come. But I'm not talking about just academic stuff. I'm talking about new things. Always learn new things. Find something that interests you and try it out. This is important to keep us mentally well. It's back to that sort of balance. We're not all just one-trick ponies, just being very academic. We need to do sort of other things during our time here. So it keeps us balanced and mentally well. Actually, if you need a kind of utilitarian reason for it, it's also about demonstrating on your CV that there are other strings to your bow. You're not just brilliant academically, but you've also run a society, or you've been involved in basketball, or you've done this, or you've done that. So it's telling employers that we are rounded people that they would definitely want to employ. And the last but not least, fifth way to well-being is to give. There's some examples of that, obviously, around the box in the middle. So giving time to people, offering to help someone, volunteering. These can all help to create huge satisfaction in ourselves and boost our mood, increase our self-worth. You will also never feel more embedded in your new environment if you sort of take that altruistic sense of giving. It doesn't have to be signing up to be a volunteer if you don't feel you have all the time for that. It could just be as small as picking up a piece of litter, which is kind of a way to give back to the environment. Okay, so if we've engaged to a good extent in those 5 ways to well-being, we will hit that sort of thriving stage. This may come sooner for some than others, and you might find that you slip back a little bit into the surviving mode as challenges occur. Everyone is different and everyone's journey is different. But if you get a good pattern in your life with those 5 ways to well-being, you should hit that sort of thriving space sooner rather than later. Okay, we're going to shift gears from it and look at where in the university to get help if you feel that you're struggling with your sort of well-being during your time at Edinburgh. Okay, so both Sharon and I work for the Student Counselling Service. We're free service in the university, and we offer short-term therapy. We deliver it in a variety of ways. At one time, we were just a face-to-face service, and we did a bit of email counselling, and we're all manner of things to people. So we offer face-to-face, we offer telephone counselling, we offer email counselling, and we offer video counselling, online counselling. So there are lots of different ways to have therapy with us. We also offer a variety of online self-help packages if the idea of sort of communicating one-to-one with a counsellor doesn't suit you. There are lots of packages available on our website that you can just sort of pick up and run with. Sharon has very kindly put up our university website there, the Student Counselling for Services one. That gives you an idea of all that we have to offer, and we'll come back to that in a bit more detail later on. But the kind of self-help packages I'm talking about, there's something called Silver Cloud, which is some online packages to work through on your own, following the principles of CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, that some of you may have heard of in the past. There are packages on things like sleep, anxiety, depression, lots of different packages in there, about 10 different ones. There's a Feeling Good app on our website, which is an award-winning app for learning positive psychology and maintaining it. And there's something called Together All, which is an online 24/7 mental health support forum, which you can on it in the middle of the night, and you're bound to get comments from the community, including sometimes from the moderators who are trained counsellors who are based in New Zealand. So lots of different ways to get support from us, not just all short-term therapy, but lots of sort of self-help options. I would just say about the counselling service, we're not an emergency service. In the next slide, we're going to look at what to do when you have more of a crisis in your life to do with your health and well-being. But Sharon has also very kindly just popped up a link on our website to crisis support options. These are sort of 24/7 available resources, phone lines, or hospitals you can kind of immediately get in touch with if you feel that you're in a very bad place and you need help straight away. So in terms of other support, apart from student counselling, there's loads of support in other places, both in and outside the university, to help you optimise your time here and support you when you feel things aren't going well for you. And there'll be separate talks from a lot of these providers about what they offer today if you have a chance to sort of go to any of them. Let's just talk through a few. In the UK, obviously, we have the National Health Service, which you can access by registering with a GP, general practitioner, a doctor, or make sure you register with your local healthcare provider if you're staying away from Edinburgh, staying at home, to provide that important link for physical and mental health issues. In the university, there's a Student Disability Service, our sort of sister service. We're co-located with them. They deal with long-term physical and mental health difficulties, the kind that you've possibly been diagnosed with or you've been aware that you've been struggling with for 12 months or more. So if you register with them, you'll get sort of longer-term study support. You've got all the support in your academic school. So for a PhD student, it would be your supervisor, or it might be your personal tutor if you're doing a one-year master's. You've got student support teams in the academic schools as well. So there's a sort of myriad collection of staff, academic staff in your academic school who are there to help. The chaplaincy, I've alluded to them before. They exist for all faiths and none. They're very supportive. They have a listening service that you can just connect with on a sort of drop-in basis online if they want to chat to the chaplain about any struggle they're having. Edinburgh University Students Association is the independent students' union part of the university. They have an advice place for very practical advice, like a sort of citizens' advice bureau, if you're aware of that concept. They also help run student societies and a peer support network, which can support students get in touch with other students to get local support. And if you're in student accommodation, there's a residence life team, wardens, and they have residential assistants who can help those in halls who are struggling in lots of different ways, including with their mental health. So you might want to write this down. You might want to just sort of click on one of Sharon's links to kind of keep tab on it. But our email address there is student.counselling@ed.ac.uk. That's how to contact us if you want to sort of ask us any query after this session. We've got the web address there, which is lovely, www.ed.ac.uk/student counselling. And our online self-referral form, which we'll come back to in a minute, is available for you if you wanted to formally ask us for one-to-one counselling. That would be the place you go to fill out a form. Sharon's very kindly popped that link up for us there. Self-referral form is the way that you would access the one-to-one counselling. Obviously, I mentioned lots of other self-help things which are available without filling out that form. You could just go on the website and start using those. We'll return to this slide right at the end, so you've just got that up again. So in summary, really today's session is about allowing yourself time to arrive, survive before you thrive. Encouragement to use the 5 ways to wellbeing to help this process. And a sort of recognition that if you find yourself struggling, or even not, if you're worried that you might struggle, do make use of all the available support services at the university and outside the university. It would be the worst thing in the world for a student to struggle on and on in silence and only turn to the support services very late on to say, you know, I haven't been doing very well. It's much better that you sort of try to come to see us early so we have time to try to support you.